all the competition in the dust.
Find out the purpose, we need to go and access several mythologies and give a synopsis on what happened to us. What happened to us. And a lot of times we get back, especially the Africans or the black people, we have to reiterate that because we're talking internationally. We get into it because we want to find out how we fell to such a low point. But what we don't realize is we fell to a low point when we first came in to humanity. When we first became locked into the human stage. And that's where we need to go. And then we can think. So we'll go into a bit of the synopsis on this so we can answer later on what we're supposed to be doing. So basically, let me take you through a few things. Prior to this particular universe, what we would call the known existence of the Milky Way galaxy or what have you, because it's relevant to the Earth, we inhabited several primal worlds.
Okay.
And those primal worlds, well, they came in 1998 and they said, well, this particular universe is something like 14 billion years. So the primal worlds that we inhabited before this particular creation, which is about 14 billion years, we just give a number just for a synopsis. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You never really know, but let's get to kind of round this thing off. Prior to this particular creation, which is about 14 billion years, we inhabited several primal worlds that existed about 14 billion years prior to it falling or demise. You see what I'm saying? So we existed in these particular primal worlds. And those particular primal worlds were these high superior deities. And these high superior deities, in so many words, got old and started falling asleep or losing power. Their children rose up, which would be the gods that exist today, the ones we worship. Their children, those primal deities or entities, children rose up and thrust their parents into a physical existence, and they became humans. So we are the parents of the gods that we worship today.
Wow.
You see?
Right.
And became humans. And so in our human existence, what we were supposed to do was to go to an incubation stage of the mummy that you see Osiris wrapped in the mummy.
Right.
Which was a cocoon. And it was a cooking vessel to cook the soul into perfection and sift out the flaws that made us fall in the first place. You see, there was a flaw in us that made us fall in the first place. And for so many years, millions of years, we had to sift out the certain flaws to perfection.
Right.
Thus leads us to the present situation of the perfected stone, the philosopher's stone, or the great works, or the golden fleece, the holy grail, the Excalibur, all these different systems that tell you about this perfection. The Christos, the Christ form, which is the perfected soul, perfected stone. So what happened was we took on a physical existence. Now, when we first took on this physical existence, we could maneuver just as gods. And that's where you get your Lemurian and your Atlantean periods. Okay. So we were into what is called a semi-physical world. So in those particular days, the physical world was like a faint shadow, and the spiritual world was clear. As the vibratory rate fell and we became more encased into the physical, the spiritual world became a faint shadow and the physical world became visible. and we sunk lower and lower into humanism, into a particular aspect. We used to have multiple gifts: clairvoyance, clairaudio. We could fly. We could do just about everything you see a superhero can do.
Right.
And it was maybe hundreds of different gifts that was reduced down to the 7 or the 5 senses that we ended up with, the 5 senses. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that primal world was covered over. That God form was covered over with something called the elder seal or the elder sign, and was covered over with now what you call the physical brain. The physical brain is the enemy, and humanity is the enemy. And up under the physical brain is the primal world, which is the pineal gland. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is the pineal gland. And so we're talking about an incubation period, which the inner worlds, which is the pineal gland, the kundalini energies, the chakras, there's 160 chakras. You see what I'm saying?
Body, right. Yes.
Yes. And when you look up into space, when you can see these chakras and you can see these particular souls, when you look up in space, those are the souls that's down here inside of the human body, covered up, and we are dreaming outwardly. So we have a series of dreams that we call the illusionary phenomenon that we call reality. It's nothing but a trick from the brain. Right. You see what I'm saying? To give us a series of illusions that don't even exist while the soul slept. And as the soul slept, these series of dreams became known as the ego. And the ego, the self that you identify with now, that what you call yourself a human.
Right.
And as that, and it supposedly thinks that it is real, but it is not. It is only a construct or a projection of one's dreams coming from the soul. We created. Go ahead.
I was going to say that is perfect because I do have some questions about the soul. I just want to interject to everybody.
Yes.
Welcome again. We are listening to Brother Bobby Hemmitt. In just a short moment, we will start to open up the phone lines. So if you have a question and you want to call in, you can definitely go ahead and reach us at 646-652-2711, and we'll go ahead and try to get to your questions. So, Bobby, with all of that being said and really trying to pull this together, that definitely takes me to the question that I did have for you, and I want you to see, I know we sort of talked about it and you mentioned it, about the 8 primordial gods and goddesses. If you can speak on that, and also a question that has come up several different times, I know, with the conscious community and those of us who study these particular areas, did the gods ever walk the face of the earth? And you're saying, yes, they did. And so my question now is, do they walk the face of the earth now?
No, okay. Okay. All right. With the 8 primordial gods on earth, they later on became the 8 chakras. You got 7 major chakras. They got one called the 8th chakra, or the height. You see what I'm saying? As far as major chakras, your 8 primordial deities, which used to be, you could even go with a later mythology of Isis, Osiris, Horus, Set, the Nut, Geb, so on. Those primordial deities. They exist within us as the chakras, and naturally the Horus, which would be the final implementation, would be the pineal gland, the Horus or the Mayat, because there's a dual figure. It's an androgynous figure called Hor, Ma, which is Mayat, Ku. Horus and Mayat are Heru, Ma, Ku. Heru and Mayat in a pyramid. Ku means pyramid. So Mayat would also be a form of the pineal gland, the finishing form of that. So the Mayat, most people think that it's physical principles, and yes, they used to have the same principles to govern society, but Mayat means a perfection. In the spirit world, it means the perfecting the last result. It's called the tikkun in Kabbalah, the perfecting principle. You see what I'm saying? So, Heru Har-Ma-Ku. So the primordial deities later on became encased in the human body as the chakra systems. Now it's interesting here.
Now, what are the 5 families of the black bourgeoisie? Because there's 5 families. Just like the Italian mafia has 5 families, we got 5 families. Okay? There is the entertainment aristocracy. These are black people who are well placed in entertainment. Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Bob Jackson, LeBron James. It is the entertainment aristocracy. These are blacks who get rich through entertainment and athletics, and their job is to do what? Deflect all attention away from white people as being responsible for the condition of black people. As you notice, Oprah Winfrey, her whole career was based on what? Catering to white women. That's how white supremacy operates. Here's a black woman, but her whole show caters to white women. That's what white supremacy is supposed to do. Look at Jay-Z. He got all these albums out here, pussy, bitch, hoe, all these negative terms, downgrading black women, talking about dark-skinned black women, how he sold drugs, shotguns, boom, 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 boom. But all that is okay. Why is it okay? Because Jay-Z was willing to work with the owners of the Barclay system there to build that stadium and move all those poor black people out the way. So because Jay-Z was willing to do the bidding for white folks and becoming a Mason, he could really even do even more bidding for white people, okay? He is okay for him to curse and to put black people down because he's working for them now. He's on the inside. He's Obama's hip-hop person who keeps all the Negroes in check in the hip-hop industry. That's who he is. He's the Al Sharpton of the hip-hop world. Is black people with money. Rich blacks with money. You're normally looking at $500 million or more. Now, some blacks belong to multiple categories. Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Cosby, Bob Johnson, they belong to multiple categories. They belong to entertainment. They also belong to Negroes with money category. These are black people with millions of dollars, and they never give that money to anything worthwhile. They know Umar Johnson trying to build a school, but they ain't wrote a check. They know that there's different institutions we need in our community, but they ain't wrote a check. Why is it that you never see athletes and entertainers and rich black people do anything to help the neighborhood? Because the number one rule to being rich and black in America, if you want to stay rich and black, never use your money to help your own people. Never. If you want to help black people, do it in Africa. You want to help black people, go to the Caribbean. You want to help black people, go to England. You want to help black people, go to Canada. But you better never be caught using your money to help improve the condition of black people. That's why Jay-Z went to Africa and he done something for one of the villages in Africa. That was real nice, but he ain't do a damn thing for Brooklyn. Oprah Winfrey went to South Africa. She built the school. I don't have a problem with that. I'm a Pan-Africanist. But you're based in Chicago with the worst school system in America, one of the worst in the world. You didn't do nothing for them. This is what they do. And then you turn on the TV, what do you see? LeBron James and Kobe Bryant posing with white kids. If you notice, every time they show you an NBA Cares program, you always see black athletes helping white children. There might be one token black, but most of the time it's white. Why can't they help their own damn children? Because it's against the rules of white supremacy. If you want to be a rich black person, enjoy your money, spend your money, but don't spend it on your own kind.
Or, don't spend it on your own kind to help your own kind. You could blow 50 racks.
You could throw a party.
King of Diamonds. You could blow 50 racks at King of Diamonds. You could buy all the sneakers in the world. You could show off your Louis Vuitton sheets and all of that stuff. But if you Negroes even act like you want to help the condition of the Negroes around you, oh, no, we pulling plugs. You know what I mean? We coming up with scandals and all kind of shit. You getting pulled over, we putting a gun on you, something is going to happen to sit you down.
They're going to Cat Williams you.
Leaving all the competition in the dust.